What's going on, man?
Yeah.
What's going on?
All right.
King of the Table 7. Devon's back at his shenanigans again.
Yep.
He's facing Dave Chaffee. What do you reckon?
What do I reckon?
How far have you seen the marketing?
I have not seen all the marketing.
No. Well, the initial release was Devon trying to look like the bad guy sitting there in the stands of the East vs West. They've got their core sports shirts on now, and he says, "Fuck that guy, Dave Chaffee." He just goes on to say how useless he is and whatnot. And then Dave's version of the promo was Dave watching on a video Devon doing that and him just laughing and shaking his head. So the the theatre is up and running, but what do you think about that match, man?
What do I think about that match? Well, of course, we've seen both of them just compete. And that's something that we don't often see coming up to a match like this. Is we've had a match from both of them on the East vs West stage. A little bit of concern for Dave there.
You got to say, haven't you? Like that was weird because it's left us asking. We don't know, is Rivas a complete stud now, or has something happened to Dave?
Yeah, that's the big question. And you talk about Rivas, and he's such a big dude with such a long arm. And he was just aggressive and assertive on the table. And so stylistically, size-wise, if he has leveled up, he trains with the Georgian team. It could just be the case that he's leveled up that much. Or has Dave dropped off a bit?
Has anyone heard of any injury from Dave, or is there? I haven't heard.
I haven't heard specifically, but that there's always rumors after a performance like that Dave was injured.
Dave's a really stiff arm wrestler. Like when I think of Dave's style of arm wrestling, he's super rigid. He hates to get turned right in. He doesn't overpronate in his own top roll. He just sits mid lane and goes sideways. How is Devon Larratt the exact opposite? Wants to get as deeply coiled as possible, and this version of Devon's very different to the version that took Dave on in WAL. I've seen Devon's already gone out there to say he's going to absolutely make Dave look like a fool. Do you think, based on what you've seen with the Rivas match and Devon and the Gennady match, is that on?
I can see why Devon's saying that. I can really see why Devon's saying that. So the first match we had with them in WAL, you could see Devon getting stretched all the way open, but getting that stops towards the bottom of the pad. And his ability to get a stop has become closer and closer and closer and tighter and tighter. Yeah. But Dave's improved too. Dave now has a flopper's press. He now has threat outside of just the one lane.
We got to have a look at that piece of footage because I think that back in the day, Devon Larratt only gets this first round victory because of the WAL's rules, the long pad. And he goes below, right now he's below. He dips below a few times. What's it called there? So they call that a pin to Dave. They go back and review that. I was in the room, I remember. Devon was like, what? That's not a pin. They go back and review it's not a pin. And then we get the restart, still 0-0. Now Devon's shoulder goes well into the negative in the defensive half here. So back then they hadn't talked about that as a rule. So given the match was under what the rules it was, it's a fair win for Devon. But oh my goodness, look at that! He gets buried there, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely buried. And you got to think, that's an extra 2 inches he's got on off the back of the pad there.
Yeah. When does Devon get his first win? Come back there, this one here. Okay. And so let's have a look at it again. So 1-0. Dave Chaffee buries him the first one. Then the restart happens, and is this what we're going to see? Is that what we're going to see?
No.
You think Devon's going to stand up?
Well, Devon has to be taller than that. He can't get away with that right now. And he also doesn't have the extra 2 inches of elbow pad to drag back that far to get that shape. So I think, and you're also seeing it's a much bigger Devon. It's a much bigger Devon, and it's a much stronger Devon in that particular lane that we're seeing for this match. So I don't think we're going to see that position. And I think if Dave stays persistent on that one dragging side pressure angle for too long, then it's going to be Devon's.
Dave never commits his shoulder to a flop press here. It's always a flop hook, and Devon just bleeds him out, and eventually he stands up here and pins himself. Do you think the newfound flop press from Dave Chaffee could get through the King's move?
Yeah. I think it can, depending on the position that he's in. Absolutely. We saw Gennady have some success with a lot of success ultimately with the flopper's press on Devon Larratt. I'm not going to say that Dave's is going to be anywhere near as clean as Gennady's, but from that already open position to transition around and get his full body behind it, I think Dave can probably finish from there. And whether or not that happens, that changes the way that Devon's going to arm wrestle, because Devon's going to know the threat's there. Devon's going to have seen that versus
I
Vitello.
almost feel like Dave should just come straight out flopping. I feel like Dave might spend unnecessary fuel trying to use his traditional shape, because I fear for him that Devon is a better version, and the Devon stays high and real pronated, locks Dave up at the top of the table. And if Dave fights up there, he's going to gas a lot. What are you laughing at so much?
I think I figured out why Jerry doesn't like us.
Why doesn't Jerry like us? I thought we were talking about Dave.
Oh, I know. We've
Hi, Jerry.
Yeah, hi, Jerry. We do actually love you. We think you're a great arm wrestler, man. But we keep on criticising his technique. And
now we're suggesting everyone else
having flop as an only option, and that's why Devon should be able to take control, so on and so forth. And I just say, you should probably just flop him. Forget the flop specialist. Dave should flop him off the go.
Poor old Jerry. Uncle Jerry always gets labelled as the underdog, doesn't he? And like severe underdog. But he keeps name his last loss. Yeah. Anyway, Jerry versus Levan. You know that we want that. But seriously, if Dave just said, not even going to try to keep my wrist the whole time, I'm just going to keep pronation through my thumb, and I'm going to be brave and actually go fully behind my hand. I'm not going to flop hook. I'm just going straight there. Does Devon Larratt have the power to pull Dave out of there?
Well, it no longer becomes a question of can Devon pull him out this way. It's now a fight for shoulder.
Yeah.
And we saw that with Garni, and we see Devon talking about that after the match. As soon as you have someone dedicating to a flopper's press, it's a fight for shoulder and shoulder line. Yeah. So the question is Devon strong enough?
Because if Dave's still fresh in doing that, his shoulder's good. Like, you got to say Dave's side pressure from the start of the vast majority of matches in his history within the sport, he wins center from go.
You got to think, can Devon actually beat that shoulder of Dave when we've got a fresh Dave?
Are you a Devon supporter or hater right now? Like,
I love arm wrestling. I love arm wrestling.
I've been labelled after our last commentary. I've been labelled a Devon hater now.
Whoa!
Like, people say I'm a Devon hater.
Oh. That's the farthest thing from the truth.
I do like planning how to beat Devon for everyone that comes up against him. I find that a very fascinating thing, because I feel like Devon is he's the favourite in terms of control of the match almost every time. I can't see. Yep. I can't see. It's not like Devon needs a strategy. Devon is just like, I'm just going to contain and control and steer this ship around.
And improvising Devon is still a lot more dangerous than the plans of most arm wrestlers coming into a match. His ability to adapt and feel what's going on and still dictate control is absolutely phenomenal.
If I'm Dave, I'm going straight to the flop, round one. I'm not even keeping my wrist for a second. I'm just, that move ready to go, bang. And I think he'll pin him if he does that. I think he will. That fresh. It just comes down to is Dave's elbow that degree conditioned that he can handle round one ready go pressures without discomfort?
See, I think there's likely going to be a bit of discomfort there no matter what. But
just do it.
Just do it. The question for me is, can you do it 3 times in a row, or how many? 4 times in a row, king of the table?
Yeah, I think once you've found the flop lane, and it's worked. If you found the flop lane and you've got through round one, I think it's even more comfortable round 2 and round 3. It starts to get. The person who's on the receiving end of the flop press starts to feel a lot of anxiety and pressure of like, as you said, I've got to get centre. I've got to get centre. And that's when Dave's shoulder and pec is just going to be like, well, no. This is I think we've found it. I think we've found the formula.
We found the 4-0 Dave Chaffee victory over Devon Larratt with a flop pressed four times in a row off the go.
And Jerry's going to love it. Jerry will love it. Jerry will just sit over in the corner saying, hi, Devon, if that happens. But what's the other side of the coin? What's the other side of the coin? What's the 4-0 Devon Larratt?
The 4-0 Devon Larratt, I think, is Dave Chaffee tries his conventional shape, his ace. Just goes for his ace. And Devon gets the stop. Maybe a third, maybe even as close as 2/3. I doubt it, but as close as 2/3. Just gets budged to here, stops the match. Gets into a little bit of a war where Dave has to try flounder for position, and if Dave's only taking Devon a little bit off centre and is looking to adjust, it's all Devon's. In terms of the adjustments, Devon's not going to leave a door open.
Will Devon make the same mistakes he did against Gennady?
Surely not. Surely he'll take a slightly more efficient victory rounds 1 and 2 where it really bleed Dave, but Dave also doesn't have the same options as Gennady to punish Devon for showboating.
I imagine Dave would have a decent arm just there if he just kind of says to Devon, you must forcibly press me to the pad. I'm not pinning myself. You must forcibly press me.
Except we could see that Devon had some sense of urgency from that position with Gennady. There was threat from Gennady. There was uncertainty. I think when Dave Chaffee's here, Devon knows he's secure, and so he can just say, no. I'm just going to stay here, and you're going to gas first.
Yeah, and Dave will be tempted to try every now and then and realise, it's nothing.
Devon, that's his story.
That's what happened, wasn't it? Last time when they faced in the WL, that's how it played out. As you said, the pads have changed though. There's no longer that extra inch on the pad at the back. It's not as round. They're going to be much more square pads, so the drag won't be there. But we think Devon Larratt's rise in rotation is
much better.
Is so much better than it used to be.
Yep.
Yeah, my goodness. My goodness.
So we've both seen a potential 4-0 Dave Chaffee if he just flops off the go every time.
Yeah.
4-0 Devon Larratt, conventional shape. Where's the battle? Where does the war happen?
In the courage to do that for Dave. I think that Dave, and there's moments in arm wrestling matches where you need to jump across the divide. There's a bit of fear. You don't actually know whether you've got it or not.
Yep.
Everything else you're experienced in. You know the feeling of the fatigue and the pressures, and you trust your own max efforts. But when you've got to jump across into the unknown, it's scary. So I think a lot of it plays into the fear of that for Dave. I genuinely can see it. If Dave goes all in on that, he wins. I can see that. Where if he doesn't genuinely go all in there, I can't see any way Dave wins.
It becomes very, very difficult. All of a sudden, Dave now has to be a level stronger or 2 levels stronger than Devon to win a match if he goes back to his
and the way Rivas top rolled Dave, I think Devon's going to do that too. Like he'll be able to take control of hand and wrist. He won't have the side pressure that Rivas had. Yeah. But in terms of just getting the control of the hand, I think he will.
Wouldn't that be something if Devon treats Dave like Rivas did? Oh. He won't. He's not as explosive. He's not.
And Rivas is taller as well, I think.
Yeah, Rivas is just a bigger human.
He's a huge human.
And has something that Devon doesn't. In
Georgian teammates.
Yeah. And Georgian training. Although Devon is exploring that a little bit.
Is
at
it?
least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
getting some hints from the Georgian team as to how to improve and get stronger. Because we saw he was quite lacking in a couple of areas in his match with Gennady. And that being he was lacking security through his pec, through his shoulder, and through his tricep. You could see his back pressure, his bicep, and his hand was phenomenal. But when it came to meeting Gennady in a hook, he didn't have the tricep or the shoulder or the pec to be able to maintain and fight that battle as efficiently as he could. His elbow was fine. You could see him not being able to be pulled past center. But yeah, that lack of foundational strength through that pushing chain, which obviously he doesn't train, really cost him that match ultimately. in terms of the glorious match that he was looking for.
Yeah, I agree with you that that's why he lost. I think he looked for the glory. He didn't. He did. Devon's always looking for the glory.
Oh,
He-
yeah.
He's a storyteller on and off the table.
It's why he's got the amount of fans as he does. He makes every match, whether or not it was entertaining from the start, an
Yeah.
absolute war.
Yeah, if he's in control of someone, he will let that rope out as much like as much as he can. He'll be like, "Come on, get into the fight, get into the
Other
fight."
than Denis Saplinkov, I
Yeah.
think he's the only person I've seen dad move someone on a professional arm wrestling stage. and
I can actually see him dad moving Dave Chaffee too. I can like
By round four,
like by
if it
round by round
conventional
4. Yep, if Dave is completely gassed in the hand, Devon will dad move him. Devon would slide and just take the rotation from down there and just be like, you can't even get centre back anymore. Or whatever. Like, yeah, I can see the dad move.
That's one of the things that makes this match so exciting, though, isn't it? That we have just both genuinely gone. I can see a full 4-0 for Dave Chaffee, and I can see such a humiliating defeat by Devon Larratt.
Yeah,
as
like
the dad move him.
this one could be on par with the Devon Larratt Andre Pushkar moment. Like I can see it going that way too, where round 1 red line because Dave's strong and all sorts of stuff, but then control arrives and it just crashes and burns, and yeah, it ends up with a dad move with Devon just laughing his way to victory. That could happen. Ladies and gents, let us know what you think is going to happen. Dave Chaffee and Devon Larratt, King of the Table 7, June 24. It'll no doubt be a cracker, I guess. Nice goodbye there, Ethan.